Alright, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome. You guys ready? Nope. Same. Unlucky. Almost, guys. Not even close. Oh no. When we're starting Warlock. Yo, Tachi. You can do just a lot of hate campaign when it starts. How do you stay up for 30 hours? Drink enough water. Eat a big fat steak. Get a coffee at some point. Lot of fat waiting room. Dude, Donan is coming back with his druid friends. Do you know if Locke will have some sort of AFK build? I mean, technically, you can just have minions and stand somewhere. But I think that will not be extremely strong. Actually, yeah, you can do something like Oradin with Terror Swarm. That's gonna be the Death Ball build. So this is like one of my guides I'm gonna make for Maxwell, actually. That can actually be an AFK build. Is Death Rogue gonna be viable to remove Aftermath? It will be fine. I think Death Trap might still be one of the better setups. Great grandfather Mephisto. You think there will be builds established by Tuesday evening? Absolutely. Hi, Eva. Yeah, Eva's on Rogue for the start. We have Matthias, Dark Knight, and Eva on Rogue. On max roll. One of the Warlock builds I have cooking. I actually posted this on my Discord earlier. So... here. So this is the plan, yeah. It's not final, but this is what you're gonna do in roughly that order. And these are the Maxwell guides I'm doing as well. DoorDash first build trust. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, man. You know, look at this guy, man. Look at this fucking Ava guy. Rogue class lead on Maxwell. And then he comes in chat here and says DoorDash first build trust. You know, meanwhile everyone is like salivating over like twisting blades, multi-shot, dance of knives, and he's like DoorDash login. Fucking hell, man. Where did I get this guy? But anyway, so we have a pretty busy schedule here. I want to try to make every class. And yeah, so I have already finished basically the track class guide for Maxwell. Illustrate, yeah, that will not take long. So these are 2 leveling guides I have. And then they will also have endgame versions. And then those 3 are only endgame builds. And this is a macro guide, so he's doing that one, but I want to play it anyway. So this is kind of my plan for Warlock right now. We'll see if something else comes up. Before they hadn't released the Warlock Unique set, we got like half of them or so. There's a bunch of uniques. Then we'll stuff Diablo Maxwell. We'll probably publish later tonight. So after the stream, I'll sit down with Macro. We're gonna like do the final reviews and stuff, and then probably send the leveling guides. Yeah, there was like a lot of like last minute planner stuff that we were still going over, so we delayed it by like a day. By the way, new planner. We don't have the trees and stuff, but it's like a new layout, a new functionality. So this is what it's gonna look like, guys. So we have like a nice new paper doll here. Talisman is gonna go there. Class mechanic, all is like a nice one-pager. You'll be able to see item names like that, which is something that we didn't have. So they will have like, you know, aspects written out and so on. You're gonna have pros and cons here. Note blocks for individual sections. Big trees. Paragon. Notes here as well. There's gonna be Merc, and here's gonna go wall plants. It's gonna be like side by side. And we can also like, you know, add a bunch of stuff here. Yeah, very neat. You just scroll down, or you can do that. So pretty cool stuff to go out here. Yeah, loot filter is also gonna go there on the side. Yeah, our devs did like a lot of nice work there on the planner, and I've been like going back and forth with them to do the design. Yeah, big technology upgrade. It's also really good for our writers, because we'll actually have a way to kind of like do pretty much the entire guide inside the planner now. So this is like something that will massively speed up our guide production basically for launch. So this is partially a reason why we did all this work on the planner. So this is gonna basically directly transfer over into our endgame guides, where, you know, previously we had like a lot of like manual formatting and so on to do, which was very time consuming. How many demons can a warlock have at a time? 8 from Agram times 2. Like 5 from the Wall of Agony. I don't know, 5 from Sigil of Summons or something. A bunch of like big demons. Oh no. I probably thought like 25 to 30 is probably like the cap or so. You can have a lot of minions if you want. Did I see the news about the delayed season? What? What do you mean? Hi, Nightwolf. Will there be filters for each guide as well? Yes, but not for launch. It was, okay, that video. Yeah, that is certainly not a way to build a good reputation. That's for sure. Hi, Johnny. Season launches 30 minutes after start time. I think that was literally written in the blog, guys. The game goes live, and 30 minutes later the season goes live. It's literally written right there. Yo, clashed. Thanks for the Prime as well. How many newcomers will extend play on Eternal Realms? I don't know. Do you expect queue times? I mean, it's likely there's gonna be like some server hiccups and stuff at the start, right? It's gonna be a lot of people for this expansion. The hype levels are pretty high. you know, PoE is kind of like in a sleeper mode right now as well. So there's gonna be a lot of PoE people as well. Yeah, it's gonna be big. So I wouldn't expect a very smooth launch necessarily. Do stones and weapon have elemental damage right now? No, this is gonna be with the expansion. $30 million to complete a lot of Hater campaign. Yeah, that is not enough. Do we get something for sub-gifts? Yes, but only on the second week. So I have to wait until then. Okay, guys, do not subscribe under any circumstances. Wait a week. Alert. Skill points you can put per skill, 12 or 15? It's 15. Yo. Lisa, thank you too. You did not listen to what I said, but thank you anyway. When does the subathon start? Yeah, that's gonna be tomorrow, basically, with the launch. We're gonna do subathon. Yeah, didn't work. Ava, unlucky. $30 more hours. Is it exactly 40 hours? Wait, it's 8 p.m. now. It's actually 29.5 hours, right? Monka. Yeah, one thing I need to do is I need to like actually finally put all the steps into the planner. Like I have them mapped out in like a table, and I've written my leveling guide already, but I didn't actually make the planner for it, which is kind of hilarious. So I need to do that actually today. So it's 30 hours and 42 minutes. Wait, is it 2:30 for me? I thought it's 1:30. I thought no, wait, it's 1 a.m. CET and then 2 a.m. here. Okay. Yeah, it's 30 and a half actually. Wait, let's sleep until the subathon is over. No, I will sleep during the subathon. Because it's probably gonna be like, a week or two or something like that, and it's gonna like let the stream run during the night and so on. But we're gonna pause timer. Any plans to restart rogue skill tree video? Good question. What do we have left? So, let me check what we have on YouTube right now. So we have the Warlock tree, the big one I recorded yesterday. Dude, 1 hour and 4 minutes. Okay. Druid uniques, Necrosorc tree, Barb uniques, Paladin Barb Druid tree, Warlock items, Rogue uniques, Eldrin. Okay, that's actually, okay, the Rogue tree is missing. I think Rogue and Spiritborn tree I recorded in one video together. So that should definitely go out. I guess it will be tomorrow, actually. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to release still, to be honest. So I also want to make one video specifically for the Eviscerate Warlock and one for the Dreadclaws Warlock. So we'll do that, I guess. I can also record a few more build-specific things tomorrow, worst case. Because I probably also want to present the endgame guide concepts that I'm working on. So it'll probably be also tomorrow, actually, before launch. I'm just gonna do a bunch of like live recordings. Okay. Okay. What else do we have? Okay, I think besides that we kind of covered all the stuff from like the reveals and so on. It's just like the rogue and this spirit bond tree missing. At least on the stuff that I recorded. I guess I want to probably talk about leveling a little bit and like season starts chart and so on. Which is, to be honest, extremely simple. So it's basically do the Lord of Hate campaign and then war plans and then maybe strongholds at 60, the end. It kind of comes down to like if they nerfed strongholds or not, but there's no indication that they did. But who knows? Why Stronghold over Helltide? Yeah, Stronghold is extremely good XP. But you can also just keep doing wall plans, I guess. I'm gonna take some notes on this actually. I also want to make that returning player video. Fuck. That is something kind of big actually. So we should check that out as well. So it's gonna be kind of like that here. What else do we have? Okay, so interestingly, here we see that the pit is locked. But for the other guy in the review, it was open. So lair bosses clearly can't be pre-level 70. But I wonder if this has to do with the season rank. Maybe the pit is still in the season rank. We're all returning players this league. What Warlock build looks most chill, like that gamer chill for a start? I think the most chill build you can possibly play is the Death Ball build that I'm making for endgame, but it's only gonna be an endgame build. Or the very minimum you have to wait probably until level 40 until you actually have the combo online. And we won't have like the guide out right before the launch, so it's gonna be like something I'll do like on day one basically. Yeah, Blazing Scream is relatively chill, I would say. He's just like machine gun this thing in all directions. Okay, anyway. Helltide is good. Undercity is pretty decent as well. They get like the speed buffs and so on, so that is kind of nice, I think. But you have the boss at the end, which might be a struggle. Let's just mention that. Okay, lab boss doesn't exist. Hit. Yeah, Infernal Hordes is definitely something to avoid. You don't want to fight the council. That's for sure. And then Tree. Actually, Tree doesn't have like its own wall plan swing, right? It's basically just like kind of like a side effect of doing other stuff. I don't think that's an actual like wall plan's objective for Tree. Yeah, Pit, Labos, the city. Well, this is Undercity, this is 9 Dungeon. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of whisper stuff. I wonder if like actually just kind of going out and doing whispers is gonna be like a thing. Oh, 200 watch streak, holy shit. Is there gonna be 2 pit locations in Kerriga and Skovos? Yeah, Skovos has everything. Even Undercity. Okay, anyway. I guess vendors might even have 850 gear when you level up. What are you doing, Melon? Oh, my dog. Merlin. He's hearing something outside. No, there's some noise. Woof. Okay. You miss the old times at launch when I used to Fury craft a rogue. I mean, I definitely play a good bunch of rogue. It's gonna be the second class I make, so don't worry. And I have been checking out the rogue stuff. Very excited for a lot of stuff there. Death shot. Merlin. Oof. Yeah. Alert. Does he see himself? Not right now. I don't have the OBS open there. But he doesn't really react to his image, like in the front of a mirror or so. He doesn't care. He seems a bit undecided. He started barking exactly when our cat jumped up to the screen. That's nice. How old is Merlin? He's almost 2. I think June. Yeah, he's still a puppy. He looks like Bob Main. Yeah, he's more like Druid kind of guy, I think. He's like a shred enjoyer. As long as he doesn't play rabies, it's all good. Yeah, occasionally he uses ult, transforms into dire werewolf, and then he eats my shoe. Oh man. Hot copy pasta just dropped here from Excuse Me. What is that? I'm just gonna spin to win. No plan, no skill, no awareness, just vibes. And me right there. Me spins away. Teammate, what are you doing? Me, trust the process. Misses completely, spins again, still misses. Lag, mouse slipped, sun in my eyes. Yeah, definitely not me. Scoreboard 0-7. Okay. Good one though. Trust the process. I like that. Rob feeling attacked. I mean, spin to win is probably going to be good, to be fair. Barb in general is probably going to be good. So, trust the process, guys. Anyway, I don't think there's really anything else to say about Loud of Hate leveling. That's basically it. At least from what we know. Get the glyphs, I guess. You might better do a campaign before season starts, since there's a 30 minutes gap. I'm not sure how you expect to complete a campaign in 30 minutes, but good luck. In terms of gameplay, how will Warlock play? Slow like Necro or speedy as Zork? What if I told you that Necro is probably the fastest class out of these 3? Nah, to be honest, they're all gonna be fast, so it's not gonna be a problem. That's cap. I don't think so, to be honest. I think Necro's gonna surprise us. I mean, okay, late game, it's probably just Stalk again. Like, Teleport is OP. You can't really beat Teleport once it's like super juiced. So we'll see. But, I mean, Necros will have Perma Sever and then Blood Rush potential. And the Warlocks, they have Never Steps. And then they have the Jump. And many endgame builds will just Perma Jump basically at some point. Just like Barbs in live game right now. And Barbs are extremely fast. Barbs are like, you know, nearly, you know, Sorg fast with their leaps. So Warlocks will kind of have the same on most builds, I think. Rogues, what do we have? Yeah, Rogues are just fast in general, unlike anything. My friend told me Vals were slow this season till I let pass by his Paladin. Yeah. Do you still need to drop glyphs? Yes. And Godslayer now says incapacitated instead of crowd control. Does that include some form of CC? Yeah, this is like hard crowd control. Like stun, freeze, knockdown, and so on. So you have to try a little bit harder for Godslayer. Still surprised they didn't make it a mythic, but they might have nerfed the radius of it a little bit. So that is not like, you know, visible on the tooltip. When is Max putting up new Pani builds? Should be like in the next 48 hours, roughly. We're probably gonna have the first ones out. Yeah, Paladin has the advantage that it changes the least out of all classes. So the guides will probably be out pretty quickly on Paladin. There's not really a lot of stuff going on there. I'm gonna try to sleep all of tomorrow so I can wake up near midnight. No, I'll be here earlier. We start Necro or Whirlwind Barb? I mean, Whirlwind Barb is a pretty safe bet, I think. But Necro is like, you know, the biggest upgrade, basically, right? Out of all classes. So that's gonna be kind of cool. Like, Necro is just like so renewed. It's very refreshing. Whirlwind Barb is just Whirlwind Barb, I guess. It works, yeah. Necro is a class now, guys. We made it. You're worried about multi-shot single target? Yeah, same a bit. So I wonder how we're gonna solve it. And I think it might actually just do it with something like the Shadow Clone Sentry or so. Ah, the copy pasta works. Shots get close and shotgun. Yeah, there's no shotgunning anymore on multi-shot now, on Barrage. It doesn't shotgun anymore. It's actually like the entire skill is just multi-shot now, basically. And then you have like the other upgrade that drops the grenades. So that can shotgun, but just the grenade part. And then you have the other version that is actually shotgunnable, I guess. So that has, it's like a rain of arrows, like a mini rain of arrows, kind of. Glad the shotgun is gone. I don't know, I kind of like the sort of like versatility of Barrage, you know, it was like this in between, right? You had like the rapid fire, clear single target. You have the pen shot, clear AoE, and then you have the Barrage like in between. I didn't really mind that, to be honest. I think at least having one of the upgrades doing that would have been nice. Just go 2 core skills, login, man. I mean, if you're actually gonna see like, you know, Barrage and then rapid fire, that's gonna be sick. Is the old formula still in place? Additive damage should be a much more requested stat now. It is, but it also just doesn't exist anymore. So the only items that actually still have additive damage are some of the mythics. In one of Rob's videos, he says the second capstone dungeon will unlock Pit at 60. But is that from before? Does he know for sure? Yeah, it's a bit conflicting info, to be honest. So I've seen some screenshot that I had earlier where the pit was locked. But then there was like another reviewer that just had the pit unlocked on his character. And the guy didn't seem to do anything on endgame. Like he just was running around on like some level 20 character. Or level 11 even or something. And he just had a pit. And it didn't seem like he was even doing anything in endgame. So it might be because it was eternal that the pit was unlocked. It could be that you have to wait until later. But at least on alt you'll be able to pit, I guess. How long is the leveling gonna take? I expect the campaign to be maybe twice as long as the Fate campaign. So for blasters, 3-4 hours. And then you're probably gonna be close to 70, most likely. Yeah, we can't really trust the review videos. So if you can go into the pit, you want to go into the pit. If not, you're gonna focus on Hell Tides and Undercity. Like, most importantly, you want to avoid Infernal Hordes. I think Infernal Hordes is gonna be kind of bait. The Council is pretty tanky. If you walk in there with like a level 10 character, you're gonna have a bad time. Unless you somehow have some gigantic single target damage. So on like a Warlock with Hellion Sting, yeah, you can probably do it. But that's about it. But luckily, I'll be a Warlock. Okay, good choice. Yo, Mastel. Thank you for the sub. Just leave after the waves. I guess that might be actually a strat, but then you're also kind of just there and you don't get your wall plans XP. It also kind of feels bad. I'm not sure if like Infernal Hordes is actually better XP than the other stuff, even if you leave before the boss. But that could be a strat, I guess. But I think like the main problem that Infernal Hordes has, it's only actually good XP if you like really clear everything fast. Because if you don't like clear stuff like the entire screen fast, then it's gonna be like some survivor in the corner and then new stuff doesn't spawn. Like it's not actually great. It's only good when you just absolutely blast everything because you don't have to move anywhere and just stuff just keeps spawning. But you don't do that on like leveling builds. You know, the leveling builds just don't have that coverage. So ready? Hell nah. I feel like Helltide always kind of better. Yeah, it might be maybe worth to just like not do any wall plans. Because it does scale up like how much XP you get with difficulty, it seems. So maybe the wall plans XP is not really so huge early on anyway. I don't think you necessarily get like a lot of bonus XP reward. I think Blazing Scream is not good for leveling. I think it'll be fine. I think we're actually gonna make a leveling guide for it. Yeah, our leveling guides lineup is Drag Claws, Eviscerate, Blazing Scream, Minions, and Health Fracture. For Warlock, we have 5 leveling guides. No. Yeah, I guess I'll mention it like this. So this might be faster than that, but at least you can start working on endgame. Yeah, jack of all trades, but that's very strong. I mean, in D4, every build has to be jack of all trades, kind of. Else you're not really playing D4. What's the ST build for leveling Warlock? None of them. We don't rank any of the builds for launch. We're just making five builds that we expect to be good and popular. But they're not ranked in any way. There's no projectile speed. Actually, there is one of the side upgrades, I think, on Blazing Scream that gives it more speed. But it's not like a stat or something. Yeah, I have 2 leveling guides, which is going to be Track Claws and Eviscerate, and they're both going to feature Hellion Sting. And I think some of the other leveling guides also have it from Macro. Like, we discussed this a bit, and I convinced him we should be putting Hellion Sting in many places. So we'll see. That is just kind of like an insane carry skill for any Warlock setup, basically. We need a hardcore, softcore poll. I kind of don't expect there's gonna be plenty of people on hardcore, you know, with like way higher difficulty, a new game, like everything unknown. I think a lot of people will stay away from hardcore there. Where's the rogue skill tree? Yeah, I have a recording on it. It's gonna be live maybe later tonight. Will it be a class poll? I made one yesterday, actually. And we posted it on Twitter. Is there Mephistofied? Yes, there is, actually. And there is no card level. The problem is the player playing Warlock is shit. Unlucky. Alright. Anyway, I'm gonna do like a quick recording for leveling, guys. Let's do it. Okay. Maybe I should actually log in for this. Or... actually, I don't even have to log in necessarily. I can do it with the world map here. Walk. Okay. So we do this. Hello, MySpace. Can you see the level of this guy? Where the pit is locked? No. Anyway. Okay, hi YouTube. All right. Hi everyone. A lot of people keep asking me about how to level up in the new expansion in Lord of Hatred. So let's get into this. It's going to be kind of brief because frankly, it's very simple and some stuff is also somewhat unknown. So we'll have to see and adjust on the fly. But here is what I gathered from all of the press, early access, review info that we have gotten so far. And, combined with our previous knowledge, this is what you want to do. So number one, when you start the expansion, first things first, you have to do the Lord of Hatred campaign. This is mandatory at least once. You can skip all the old campaigns, even if you have never done them. If you're just coming back from, never having played even, you can go, just ignore that. I would recommend, if you have never played the original story or the Vessel of Hatred story, at least do it once, maybe at some point, just to see it. But besides that, campaign is usually not going to be the way, most likely. That being said, in Vessel of Hatred, for basically all the seasons it was live, the Vessel of Hatred campaign was in fact the fastest leveling strategy because there was a lot of flat XP bonuses that you got for completing those quests. And that might be kind of similar in Lord of Hatred, but we don't know. The campaign also is most likely going to be longer than Vessel of Hatred campaign, so I imagine they probably tuned that down a little bit and other strats will be better. So just kind of keep that in mind. So what other strats are there? Well, there is Helltide and Whispers. So Helltide in general is just kind of juicy because there is a lot of density, a lot of extra monsters constantly spawning in, so that's really nice. So this is usually the way to go, to just kind of walk in with like a slow build, and you don't need to have very high mobility, you just need to have pretty good AoE clear. And there's also not really like bosses that can slow you down or something. So that's kind of the big strength here about Helltide. Ideally, you do this on a difficulty that is pretty easy. Same as campaign, normally you kind of just want to run through this on normal and just one-shot everything. On Helltide, that would be at least hard difficulty because there's a pretty juicy experience bonus you can get for doing hard. If you can go above that, if you're like really powerful and you don't really slow down, then do this. But yeah, most importantly, you want to kind of keep up the pace. But the higher you go, the more XP you get. And also the more of the cinders you get in the Helltide. And there's actually a trick where you can farm the entire Helltide, up to like the last 5 minutes, and then swap over to Penitent difficulty and turn in your cinders. And you get a bigger XP boost and also better loot. So that is something you can do. However, you still have to actually be able to kill stuff on Penitent. So keep that in mind. And if you die, you lose half your cinders. So don't overdo it. Then we have the war plans. So war plans will unlock once you finish the Lord of Hatred campaign. So this is kind of why this is mandatory, because this is like the main endgame feature here. You can also do war plans. I might try this actually on my actual first character, and we'll see how it will go. So this means you can start working on your trees, you'll start getting the experience and the bonus rewards. And I imagine that is somewhat juicy, especially if you're undergeared and not already able to do Penitent difficulty, for example. You might actually get a bunch of nice stuff there. And that might actually help you to then go to higher difficulties and kind of make up for this difference of, just blasting Helltides, basically. Now, that being said, in war plans, there can be Helltides. So if you actually have a war plan that says, Helltide, Helltide, Helltide or something, you can just do that. And then you kind of double up on the rewards, so that's pretty good. You definitely want to do this if you can. Pit generally has been pretty good as well in the past as like a solo leveling tool. So at some point that was changed and you are able to go into the pit before max level. However, in the last few seasons that was based on your season rank. So you actually had to finish the capstone dungeon, which was level 50 on Penitent difficulty. So you had to get at least there, do that dungeon, and that would unlock the pit. Right now, it's unknown if that is still necessary, but it looks like the pit might be locked at the start. So here's a screenshot that we have from the press access, where we see the lair bosses are locked. So obviously they don't exist here in pre-tournament difficulties, and the pit is also locked. So it might not be a thing. However, it could be a thing because I've seen another reviewer where they actually went into the pit at level 11 and they didn't really seem like they had done really anything at all on their character. but might have been like an eternal thing or so. So this might have been like a seasonal thing here with like the locked pit. In an eternal, it might be open or so. We'll see. But if you can, you want to go there as well. And Undercity is also just kind of nice, at least if you have decent single target to deal with the boss later on. So Undercity is also like decent density, and then they also have like this kind of movement and cooldown buff and so on there. So that's kind of just nice to give you like a good pace right away. Bad is Infernal Hordes, ironically. So when you do like these low-level Infernal Hordes, they are just not really it, because most of the time monsters only spawn when you have actually cleared almost everything in the arena, and most leveling builds, early game stuff, doesn't really have that coverage. You know, you kind of go slow, and you know, you run out of resources and all that kind of stuff, and then monsters just don't keep spawning. And in addition, you have to fight the council, and you have like 2 of those dudes, and one of them is giga buffed. So they are just really tanky. So you need to have some gigantic single target damage if you want to do hordes. And even then, it's probably mediocre. And then Nightmare Dungeons, they are also just traditionally not really great for leveling. So at least during Wrath of Hated, they were not really it. So I would also try to stay away from those. However, there are these experience pools you can find. These are like these yellow pools, like the Pool of Reflection from Diablo 3. They exist in the, like I think it's called Forgotten Wisdom dungeon or so. So if you find a sigil that has that, you can at least run this and then get like a 1 hour XP buff, which is kind of neat. Yeah. Then we have Strongholds. So this kind of in later, at least in Wrath of Hated, that was always a really good strategy. So you drop down to normal difficulty and rush through strongholds. There's a juicy kind of like one-time XP reward for completing strongholds. It also unlocks, for example, some dungeons and some waypoints, which is kind of neat in some cases. So this is kind of like the way to like boost you to the final levels. Not just that, it also makes sure that it's just kind of easy, because in the last levels, going from 60 to 70, we expect it's going to be similar to before, where the last few levels have like a gigantic item power ramp going on. So what I mean is, you're probably going to be like level 50 and you have like item power, I don't know, 500 or 600 or so. And then, you know, like you go like the last few levels, every level will be like an item power jump of like plus 20 or so that you can find. So there's like a really huge ramping of, you know, both the character power, the weapon DPS, and then also the monster HP. So staying at normal difficulty makes it so that you can pretty easily complete all the content, do the bosses and so on, and not necessarily rely on the drops to kind of keep dropping every time, especially weapons. And most of the time, strongholds actually give you relatively good rewards. You might even get temper manuals there that are high level, even some legendaries. So we'll see, but they used to be relatively juicy. That being said though, don't go to the Hunter. So, you know, look at the map here so you can see where all the strongholds are. These are these red icons. So the old world strongholds are good. The Hunter is bad. And then Skovos, we don't know. We have seen like some clips of one of the strongholds there. They might be good, but maybe not. But yeah, for the most part, the old strongholds are kind of nice, and they might push you all the way to 70, or at least kind of close. And then what to do at 70. So when you're fresh 70, the first thing you want to do is do Pit 10. So you unlock Torment 1. This is important because this is where the actual endgame starts. This is where you can do lair bosses and then, you know, get all the loot from the uniques from those bosses and all that. And you also start finding glyphs, which also drop pretty frequently in the pit normally. So you kind of want to go to Torment 1 right away. And most of the time, this is relatively easy to do, even on some mediocre builds, basically. So as soon as you're 70, you do this, and then you get 850 gear, which is like the new 750 in every slot as soon as possible. So if you have a few obols saved up, maybe, then just kind of, you know, get one item in every slot, craft them up with a Horada cube, and equip it, imprint it, temper, and all that kind of stuff. And then you're gonna be, you know, on your way basically into the end game. Yeah, so this is kind of what you want to do. And I guess the focus of what you want to do in war plans will shift a little bit as you progress. So very early on, it's nice to boost your glyphs a little bit, for example. And you also get usually pretty good XP in the pit. So maybe try to focus on those a little bit more. But then at some point, I guess we're going to figure out, okay, like, you know, this activity is good for maybe lair boss keys. And this activity is good for more optosite, or this activity is good for more cube crafting stuff. So depending on kind of what you need, I guess, you will want to like swap it around a little bit what you do in your wall plans, but you're going to do like some sort of mix of everything, I guess. And lastly, when it comes to alts, so if you're like rerolling and you want to like try another class and all that, there are basically 3 strategies here. So generally you want to skip campaign. However, that being said, maybe it's juicy with what I just explained. So in the past, that was actually a strategy to just like run Vessel of Hater campaign really fast, and you could actually level quickly this way. But yeah, for the most part, I think just gonna go wall plans right away, or you self boost. So you can collect Whisper caches, and when you open them, they have a bunch of experience globes. So this used to be a strategy in the past where I just like collected Torment 4 caches. You went on level 1 character, opened them, and even get most of the loot still. You still get the high level items, you don't really lose out on a lot of stuff there, and you get boosted right away. At least a few caches can already go a long way. Like in the past, you used like 4 caches and got to 35. And then you could, for example, equip the mythics that you already had, maybe, and you were just like blasting, 270 or 260 pretty easily. Or lastly, you can get boosted. So Pit has been kind of like the primary boosting tool. So if you play with others, or you do like, boost for boost or something like that, then this is the alternative here. So yeah, this kind of sums it up for the strategy of what you want to do for leveling up. Just a few other tips that I can give here for the start is obviously don't forget about your pet and your mercs. So you want to equip those right away at level 1 so that you have your auto pickup and your helper there. That will be kind of nice. Also, if you're not aware, all the waypoints are unlocked from the start as well these days. So you can go wherever you want all the time, or you can use the wall plans feature to teleport around wherever you go. They actually made it so that when you do wall plans, you don't need any sigils or keys or anything. You can just always go into a Nightmare Dungeon if you want, or always go to a Hordes, which, okay, is most likely not really what we're going to do, but just kind of keep it in mind. You don't actually have to wait until something like that drops to progress. And that is also just pretty much about it for what we know. Obviously, stay tuned. We might be discovering new strategies. A lot of stuff in that sense here might be changed, and maybe we find really good ways to level even faster. But for now, this is all the available information, and this is how I will do it. Hope this helps you. I wish everyone good luck with the start in Lord of Hatred. I'm excited for it, so stay tuned for all of the guides and all the clips coming out, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay. Ja, Windmale. Thank you for the summers. You recommend you start a new character and run through the original campaign again? You can do that if you have nothing else to do today. But on the launch, you're just gonna skip the old campaigns if you wanna actually play the new stuff. Game Man is saying bye, guys. Oh. Bye. Yeah. He was scratching me already during the video. See us next time, but you're still here. Stare. A lot of Alien campaign is supposed to be a lot longer than Missile. Yeah, I'm not surprised, right? It kind of makes sense that it's longer, I think, since it's, like the finale and a lot more like a story development and so on. And the setup for Bale or Diablo most likely as well at some point, I imagine. And D5 announcement coming to BlizzCon. That's like the biggest cope I've ever heard, man. If you never played Spellborn, do you need to finish that before tomorrow? No. You mentioned earlier Necros could be fast. What do I mean? I mean that everyone gets inexorable Reaper aspect and can spam infinite sever mobility skill with just resources, which are easy to get, I think, on Necro. If the longer part is NPC, yep, and cinematic and one metaphor blasters. Yeah, there's probably like also like a lot of scenes where like, you know, kind of the NPC like walks along with you somewhere and like he's talking and you can't actually skip that and stuff. Katsu, hello. Thank you for the 55 months. We didn't even kill our first primal prime evil yet. We still have at least 7 years of content. Yeah, basically. You plan to make loot filters for the guys you make this season? Yes. I will do a subathon, yeah. But I'm like finalize the goals and stuff like that. So you're gonna see tomorrow. You spent 300 euros on Platinum. Do you think they release new cosmetics with expansion launch? I mean, Warlocks will certainly have a few cosmetics. And I could imagine there's like something for all the classes there. The devs need to introduce 1-2 new skills every season and change some of the existing ones to keep the game fresh. Like how GG does. Yeah, PoE works very differently though. D4 doesn't work that way. You have defined classes with defined skills and playstyles. And I mean, I could see them like kind of like tweaking some of the skills that they made now after like a little while, because maybe some of them didn't work out or something. But you don't just like add random skills all the time in this game. It's not how it works. And that's fine, you know, we don't need that either way. You can keep the game fresh with just season powers, right? This is why they made season themes. So it's like a very low effort, very high impact, you know, like shake up to the game basically. So it affects every build. Every build will be different every time you make a season theme. And that alone is already enough, I think. I will rush the campaign. No RP. I think all builds are going to be more balanced across the board. Generally, yeah. I mean, obviously we're still gonna have OP and shit builds, I think. But just with like how things are designed now, the gaps will be way smaller than they are now, I think. When you get pillars to click and mob spawns. The Chaos Rifts are coming back, actually, excuse me. There's a... like in the Helltide tree, I think. There's something about Chaos Rifts. They're back. The 15 chatters telling me to go to sleep. Oh man. It is what it is. We'll just showcase the leveling build so we know which one will appear to our playstyle. Yeah, I'll try my best. But it's gonna be a bit clunky since I have to showcase it and then have like this thing here. I have like a list of timestamps of stuff. So I guess I can go through that. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's see what we got here. There's Apocalypse Channel, Minefield. There's this thing, okay. So this is the thing here. Here's the tail spikes. Okay, then we have that is kind of this thing here. What else? The death ball thing. I think I can delete this thing at this point actually. And this. Okay. I think it's this one. Is it called Searing Infestation? Yeah, it's this one, okay. Actually, this is the one you see right now here on the screen. Okay, I need some rampage jumping. Where's that? Okay, let's do this as well, maybe. Blazing Scream. So this is another one. What else are we gonna do? Health Fracture, minions. Maybe Rampage. Okay, what do we do here? I think Health Fracture is like somewhere far at the top and the front. We try to find this. Yeah. Do I do the Abyss version? I'm not sure. But I guess it's kind of the same anyway. Okay, so 25, 25. Slanish. That will certainly go in here. Okay. I think that is mostly it. I guess minions. So here's Agron. Let's see if I can like here's some Agron. Okay. This actually looks a bit like the minion combo here. We have the Abaddon, Agron. Okay, so something like that. 1545. Okay, should be generally fine. Yeah. Did they delay by 30 minutes? They didn't delay anything. They just started 30 minutes after the launch, basically. Yo, Marigato, I'm not sure if we can like really make a Maxwell guide for this just yet, but I will actually make a returning player guide video that will go live tomorrow. Or maybe get early access later today. Actually, I might record it here. Problem is it needs like a lot of like showing of stuff. So I might actually record it off stream. Yeah, I think it must have been offline recording. I think Drag class is going to be played with Metamorphosis to fix Shadow Form stacks problem. I think Shadow Form stacks are not a problem for any build, really. But Metamorphosis is just OP, most likely. So this is why you want to do it. Log in, check Sorg tree, and after we start for real. Yeah. It's kind of nice to give everyone half an hour to read the trees, I guess. Did I experience rather than Mythic? Was it legit Fiesta? Because in non-coordinate guilds, they killed guilds there. Raden. Fuck. Which one was that again? This Thunder guy. Ah, this was the secret boss in front of Thunder, right? Was it that one? Yeah, we've done that. Was cool. Rather than in the Zoth raid. Like, was it like the Black City thing? I didn't do that. I raided in front of Thunder though, seriously. And rather no one could be healed to full HP or they died. It was a near Lotha. Okay, I didn't know that. Sounds funny though. What do you think about that class, Metamorphosis, Tyrant's Grasp, and Sigil of Subversion? I think Tyrant's Grasp as like not a carry skill is just not really much of a useful skill. Yeah, you can pull stuff to you, but that's it, and that is not enough, I feel, to warrant the cost when you can just like jump around with Rampage instead, for example. So Tyrant's Grasp is just entirely its own build, and other than that, I wouldn't really touch it. Expect 2-3 hours of loading screen. Oh no. Hi, Yoga. Two-hour delay, get the seat by creating a character into 1 hour queue, into getting the seat when you leave town. Let's go. And then you farm the first Helltide for 50 minutes, ready to turn in, and you DC. Oof. Does all damage multi increase damage or dots as well? Yes. Outside of crit damage. You think you can get to 1 to 15 at half hour delay? Skip water class quest. Yeah, you want to do this by using a whisper cache to get XP. So I'm gonna be farming some whisper caches tomorrow to like instantly open and just make it level 15 warlock and do the quest. You can put 15 points into skills actually, Nick. Hi, Golani. I mean, I don't really do a lot of group content. And I really don't like group pushing in particular in D4, to be honest. We have a video recorded for the rogue tree, so that should probably be later. That's a good choice, Wang Doctor. We start getting endgame set items at Tournament 3. How long did it take to get full 5p set online? If I had to guess, not before Tournament 10. I imagine these class sets are relatively rare. And then you have to get 5 of the right pieces. You can like convert them around between the same set if you have like leftovers, but yeah. How many Whisper casters will I farm for the Warlock? Not much. I mean, technically, I only need to get level 40 to be able to use everything on the skill tree. So that shouldn't be that many caches. That would be like 5 or 6 caches maybe. Do you not get a new class or the standard version of the new expansion? No, you get 2 classes actually. The Paladin and the Warlock. Okay, what else do I want to work on actually? So we had this here. There's actually like the what I want to play list. I should maybe talk about that as well at some point. This one here. So the people have been asking me like what I'm gonna play and so on. So I have my Woody builds channel here. So right now we don't have any builds, so I just have this, I guess. Let's say someone redeems zoomed in before Mephisto. Would it be brave enough? That depends on how comfortable I am with the fight, I guess. Best build is the last on Rogue. God DH. And the thing is, God DH, you need like, full endgame setup for that, right? So this doesn't exist at the start anyway. So I can't even level it or something. Yeah, God DH is on the other 3. It's like spin to win. Yo, nice Galani, by the way. I just saw your previous message. Hope we're doing good. Yeah, I'm doing hardcore. What would be best aside from Warlock? There's not really a clear winner, I think. I do expect Barbs and also Rogues to be very good. But I don't know. I think everything has some pretty good potential, so we'll see. Which would I suspect to be fun top 3 on Warlock? The fun top 3. I think that's probably this, and then this. No Death Trap? Might just on Death Trap, but we'll see. I mean, eventually I'm gonna play a lot more builds than what I have listed here. This is just my starting lineup, right? My season 13 lineup, basically. And maybe I'm gonna, like, change it around or do more. We'll see. But I mean, this is already plenty of builds, right? 8 classes, multiple builds each. I mean, even if I play an entire month, that means like 1 build per day or something. So that is a pretty tight schedule, to be honest. Yeah, the horrifying thought that Tarasha is going to be that Enlightenment Keystone in a charm set. Oh no. Okay, that's gonna be a lockout moment, man. Nah, I'm pretty sure they understand that everyone hated Enlightenment, so I think it's literally just like some multi-element thing. And honestly, if that actually makes multi-element like viable, that'll be cool, right? Like do like a frozen orb and then incinerate them down or some shit. There's also a set on the Spirit Bond that says something about multitude. Bliss of the multitude or something. So it's like one for every spirit, and then obviously one like a cross spirit thing or so. How is Spirit Bond as a class? It appears to be the most unpopular, but probably one of the strongest if I had to guess. How long is the new campaign released? That's not a clear estimate, but I think probably twice as long as Vessel of Hatred. What time is people without expansion give to compensate with crafting? Nothing. We still have enchanting and all that other stuff, but that's it. The jungle monk will be fine. New leveling guides will be out on launch day. Yeah, so Warlock, we will have 5 Warlock guides that will go live later tonight. After I'm done here, I'm gonna sit down with Macro, we're gonna do the finishing touches. And then all the other classes will be like launch day and the following days. Yo, Armor, Amps, Crafts. Thanks for the prime. Did Paragon get a rework? Mildly. They mostly nerfed additive damage values and glyph additive damage values. Nah, there's no data mine. What's the big happy have tomorrow? Hi, Hasbi. Well, if you truly were away for the last 6 months under a rock, then good news. Stonks are up here. Okay, I'm gonna record another short video, guys, on this. But I should probably... Hi, YouTube. Editor being like, I'm tired, boss. Yeah, poor editor. Unfortunate. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm back with another video for Lord of Hatred expansion, and a lot of people keep asking me what will I play, what will I start, which guides will I make, all this kind of stuff. So I want to give a brief rundown of my personal plans for this expansion, and also just how this is gonna, continue onwards from launch into the following weeks, months, and so on. And of course, other releases coming out afterwards, like PoE 2, for example. So let's go straight into it. So I have actually a list here on my Woody Builds channel. This is where I normally post like, planners and my Maxwell guides and all this kind of stuff that I do throughout the season. So just kind of like, I would recommend you to check this out regularly anyway, if you want to follow along on my stuff. But obviously right now we don't actually have any sort of build guides. So everything is unknown pretty much. Besides the Warlock tree, so I have been working on Warlock leveling guides, and there will be some of those out ahead of launch. Basically, after today's stream, I'll sit down with Macro. We're gonna finalize our 5 leveling setups that we're gonna have. But all the other classes have nothing, and I've also not really cooked too much. Obviously, I've been checking everything out that I can. I've been releasing all those videos about the skill trees and the uniques, and, you know, I know some stuff, but not really the full picture. So we'll have to wait and see, and then whenever I get to it, I'll start making actual builds. But yeah, for the most part, the little Maxwell icons here, these are like my guides. So I do have a bunch of stuff on the Warlock, so this is effectively all relatively prepared. This is going to be partially leveling, partially endgame builds. So these are the first ones I'll be working on, of course, just to make sure we have like top-notch guide quality here. There is also the Paladin, which is one of the Paladin guides that I kept. So originally I made basically all of the launch guides for the most part when the Paladin came out, but most of them have now been passed on. We have a pretty solid Paladin team on Maxroll, but this is like basically one that is on me here. And this is just kind of like the list of what I want to go through as I go through the season 13. So I do try to play every single class, and I will probably have a few builds per class. But of course, you know, this is going to be a bit of a continuous process here. So I'm planning to blast this season for minimum a month straight, non-stop, like, you know, 15 hours a day kind of deal. And in that time, I guess I'll probably get a lot of stuff done. Not sure if I'm going to go through the entire list, or I might pivot over to other builds. Maybe some stuff really excites me that we don't know about yet. We'll see. But there's certainly plenty of things I want to experiment with. But yeah, of course, by the time that I get to the later stages here, it means also that a lot of stuff has already been figured out until then. So I might not actually have any sort of, you know, groundbreaking, you know, novelty or like a breakthrough or something like that anymore. But yeah, especially the first days, like the first week, this is basically what to expect here. And we'll see. Maybe we're going to stick longer to the Warlock since it's so new and there are so many builds that, you know, no one has really ever played at all. It's going to be quite fun to see what we can cook here. And with that being said, of course, it's also worth checking out Maxroll itself. So there is, for example, this link to the creator page, which we have here. So every creator has this sort of page here. And for example, you can follow, you can also see like, you know, stuff here from other games and so on. Right now, everything is empty, of course, because nothing is published yet. But this is also where you can find, you know, all of our guys here. So they each have their link there. And yeah, as the guides roll out, I've already talked about this in the class ranking video. Right now, everything is just empty, right? We archived every single build pre-launch. There is nothing there besides Warlock leveling will go here. And the same for the tier lists. We have put everything into a like temporary unranked tier, basically. So, you know, there is no ranking. There is no real information out there. No one on the press review access has really done any sort of like serious content that would really give us any meaningful insights here. So sort of any attempt of making a proper tier list is just completely doomed. So this means this is going to be a continuous process as we go. We're going to start releasing updated guides starting from day one, you know, as soon as possible. Our guys are ready. We have 22 people working on Maxroll builds. So a pretty large team. There's going to be a few people per class, and they're going to be pumping out guides non-stop effectively once the time comes. So check back frequently, press F5, check out those build guides, and then check the tier list as they get updated. But yeah, for the start, it's going to be mostly like a vibe tier list, and then we'll figure out what else we're going to actually benchmark. And, you know, eventually we're going to have like the traditional, you know, speed farming, bossing, and all that kind of stuff, hopefully set up. So that's kind of the plan for me for now. So yeah, definitely excited to jump in, not just on a new class, but also all the existing classes. So as I said, I put them kind of in order of priority here. Obviously, I want to go back to the rogue, you know, back to the roots. I have not played that much rogue since Vessel of Hatred, and I do expect it's going to be a major revival for this class. That was my main in vanilla, and I kind of want to return to that over the long run at least. So we'll see how this goes. Barb is also one of my favorites, so I'm definitely going to be on that for a while. And then kind of like the rest we're going to kind of like, you know, go step by step. So yeah, just kind of like my plan for now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of builds. I'm not sure if we're going to go really through everything. And yeah, depending on how much time there is, depending on how long it takes to actually complete a build, do all this stuff. Obviously, the start is going to take much longer than, my 5th alt, where I have all the mythics and 300 Paragon anyway and stuff like that, right? So it's going to kind of speed up over time. And that will allow me to actually get a lot of testing done relatively fast, at least judging from previous seasons and how that used to work. So yeah, that is my plan here. Let me know if you enjoy that, which build you're looking forward to, what you're playing maybe. I was just kind of curious to hear what everyone else is doing. I actually had a little poll on my stream the other day. I was going to show that real briefly. That was kind of curious to see the starter class that everyone chose here. Just like a few hundred people that were like replying here. It actually doesn't seem to be all Warlock after all. But again, this is just like one snapshot here from my community, right? But yeah, let me know what you're gonna do. And that's it. So I just hope everyone is gonna have a good start. We're gonna try our hardest to get the guides out as fast as possible. Stay tuned for a lot of uploads, of course. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, short and sweet. The Rouge class. What? People talk about the Rouge class all the time. What do you mean? Seems to be like everyone's favorite class. Spiritmore is #1 in vibes. We have Vibe DR now. I think Spiritmore might actually be okay these days. Looking at the skill tree stuff we have seen. Rogue, Stonks up, Brage. Yeah. I mean, Stonks are generally up for everyone, I think. Hey, Shibaldot. Actually, I do realize I didn't talk about like PoE. Maybe I should record an addendum. Nice. Excuse me. There's the full koi pasta, guys. PoE mention alert. I'm just gonna spin to win. Okay, now the important question. Which class are you gonna use to spin to win? Rouge. D4 builds, is that Warlock leveling guide good for track law? I have not looked at it, and I doubt I will. How about you just wait for my track laws? I will actually make the track laws guide too. I've actually written it last night, so it's basically ready to go. Druid gonna spin to lose with 5 rocks. Metamorph, Abyss, or Terraswarm for leveling. Yeah, I wouldn't really do Metamorph for leveling. That's like an endgame thing. You don't have cooldown and all that early on. You don't have like the scaling with the max life and so on. You haven't played Diablo in 5 seasons. Nice. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are coming back here. Actually, I do want to take some notes. Returning player guides. Wait, I do have a note of that actually. What is that? Okay, it's just empty notes actually. I didn't actually write anything down. So what do we have to talk about? We have to talk about the activities individually. Then we have to talk about itemization. Then we have to talk about progression. Yeah, and the skill tree as well, I guess, like a breakdown. Okay, so we have there's 3 Whispers, Nightmare Dungeons, Helltide, Undercity of Ghost, Bosses, Horns, Pit. Also, Dark Citadel, Tower. So there's that. "95% of Ethereum player guide is beat campaign, feel lost, quit the game." Yeah, exactly. So you want to try to avoid that, right? So, okay, itemization. So then we have, well, we have tempers. Yeah, enchanting. We have imprinting. We have masterworking. New cube. Transfiguration. Okay. Legion events activity and logout. But I guess you can mention this here. Legion events. World bosses, I guess. Why does it say 2 visitors, 10 of 200? This is EXP for the points. Okay, what else? Skill tree. 3 choices. Different tools. Carry versus support options. Okay, and then here, leveling, campaign, eternal unlocks, I guess, and seasonal unlocks. That is Alta inactivity. Yeah, season journey, we should probably talk about that. So this is like season rank. All builds are set tier now, game is cooked. I like that. Statues aren't required anymore. Yes. Okay, let me see what else do we have here actually. Now we got the new 6-column menu here. Okay, wall plants is there. Echoing hatred, I guess. Let's talk about that. I guess it doesn't really matter if it's new or not, because people will be coming back from various stages anyway, so a lot of stuff is gonna be new. We should probably talk about legendaries, or just item rarities, maybe. Talisman. Anyway, we have the new here, I guess. Alright. Dude, filters. I'm not even sure where to put this, to be honest. Here, I guess. We should also talk about Paragon. Oh my god. I have to explain the entire fucking game to people with like an attention span of like 4.5 minutes. How to do this? What the hell is that? Excuse me. Cooked generation. Yeah, I don't know, man. Are there any cool Zork dot builds in North of Hatred? Yes. Incinerate looks actually pretty insane. Funny enough. Demon bad, kill demon, loot good. Fishing guide. I'm not even gonna talk fishing, I guess. Actually, there can be like a brief mention. But I don't know where. Here, I guess. Don't have so many things here. Okay. Alright. What else? Maybe talk about guides. Just mention that briefly. Resources. Okay. Runes is something I actually need to talk about. Mercs as well, actually. Where the fuck does that go? I guess that goes here. I don't know. Okay, they have like honorary items now. And pet as well. I guess people don't have just do this. Anything else? I guess we can talk about PvP. We can talk about renown. We can talk about strongholds. We talk about vendors. Okay, what do we have here? Auto sign, legendary gear. Okay. This is Paragon. Okay. and game progression. Okay, that's fine. PvP. Yeah, I need to mention that PvP is useless, right? So I want to at least have that covered. I'm not going to talk a lot about PvP, of course. It's going to be like, okay, PvP, forget it, right? So, okay, anything else? Sellers, I guess, technically. What about bosses? I mean, their bosses are here. What bosses are there? Sellers did change. This is an offline video with all the material prepped. Yeah, I probably have to like actually show stuff, to be honest. But it's good to like, you know, get like live feedback on the topics at least. But yeah, I think I have to like record this later. There's gonna be like too much stuff to actually show to make this a good elixirs and incense. Oh yeah, true. They're actually removed, turns out. Am I ready for tomorrow? Absolutely not. Map overlay and pathfinding. I don't know, let's just put this here. I mean, pathfinding, sure. It's like one thing. Skill tree, I mean, hey guys, anything else that I changed throughout the game? There's like teleports now to dungeons and bosses and stuff, I guess. So that's something. Altars, I have Renown mentioned. Yeah, Zir is like too much of a detail. I'm not gonna talk about that. This is just clutter. But yeah, there's the fact that you can actually teleport at all, right? To dungeons and stuff. Like, that was not a thing in the past. Torment. I guess I should talk about that. Difficulty settings, I guess. Can we summon a boss now without leaving dungeon? Yeah, that's gonna be something that I'm gonna cover here, like these little sort of details, I guess. Codex. Yeah, we have imprinting here. Is there something else for items, actually? I guess I can talk about how you can, like, socket now without going to the jeweler all the time. Was the inventory tabs or keys mats always there? I think that was always there. I do, Kevin. It's virtually everyone starting with Warlock. It seems like half the people, at least on my poll I did the other day. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to cover, so it might be like some details missing, but I think I kind of got it. I'm just kind of worried that I missed something here, actually. You read PvP there? Anything new? No. Yeah, there's drops at launch, so tomorrow at some point the drops will kick in. It's good to see, I guess. Group finder. Ah, okay, this might be worth mentioning, actually. Okay. Yeah, as Zeph, I'll talk about it with the tower. What a list. It's a long list, man. To be honest. Like, you know, you look at this, right? And then it's like, wait, this, like, what the fuck are all these things, right? Kind of interesting. Would you say Diablo and RPGs take skill? I mean, technically anything that you do takes skill, I guess. You know, you can do anything, good or bad, you know, right? Now the question is, okay, what do you want to achieve, right? Do you need to be good to achieve the thing you want to achieve? Maybe not, right? Like Diablo is certainly a game where you can be a terrible player and still be successful. You know? But you know, you can't be a terrible player and be number one on the leaderboard. Or, you know, you can't be a terrible player and make the best builds. So starting with testing blades a good idea. It's an excellent idea, I think. Okay, what else? Let me look at like an actual build. Like, what do we have in the build that would be like important to talk about potentially? I guess we can talk about the planner, at least. It's just like ordered in here. Oh, this looks so nice, the new layout, man. I love it. What do you guys think? I should talk about GAs and stuff like that, actually. Yeah, I think I kind of got it. Okay. Armory. Okay. Guess just put it here. We need Maxwell patch notes. Will Maxwell be optimized to use for phone? I mean, making a planner, probably not necessarily. But reading the guides should be a bit more phone friendly now. Yeah, altars are not needed anymore. It's hard to imagine how much time you spent on Vanilla D4, considering all the quality of life and features added later. It's a lot of stuff they've been adding, man, honestly. Just kind of like writing it down like this is kind of crazy, right, when you think about it. And this is just like, just the topics I want to cover. So I don't know. I guess somehow I need, like, I don't know, this is like 50 different bullet points or some shit. You know, somehow I have to make sure that each of them is like less than 30 seconds. So that's gonna be fun. Make 50 TikToks, XDD. Yikes, man. Vulnerable and overpower. We should probably put that here somewhere. Overpower now is changed. Yeah, for sure. Actually, we can put it on a new even. I have an editor, yeah. So that helps. What is weaken? It's like enemies deal less damage debuff. Break into things if people haven't played since launch versus after Vessel Fated. Yeah, I could try something. I did a video like this once, I think before season 11, where I did like this returning play video, I believe. And I kind of just like went like, okay, season 1, season 2, season 3, and so on. But maybe this just makes more sense when I just kind of like go through the entire thing, because even if people have played like 3 seasons ago or something, then I know they probably forgot a lot of details, or they're not aware how stuff is changing now, and so on, right? So I might as well just kind of like explain the entire game, basically. Why an every clip of Warlock he doesn't have at least half health? Actually, that is one of the upgrades on Metamorphosis, where you cannot heal above half. But for me, most of the time here, this is just because I didn't really heal. Battle Pass and Valkyrie. Okay, fair. Should put that somewhere. Yeah, I will have 2 Warlock leveling guides and 5 endgame guides on Maxwell Ghost. NGX shop guide. Just get a Savannah skin, guys. You first described me with the Volson videos? Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember when Volson came out, man, I made these videos and they had like 200,000 views, like each of them, man. That was crazy. Like my channel wasn't even monetized, I think at that point. Yeah, and there was like this weird Volson website where I had like my dot explosion build. I remember that one. That was cool. Any potential for puncture builds? Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on puncture, to be honest. Wall plans per character? They have not said anything about it. Where's Rax telling me how to do challenge rift? Oh man. Why is Rex not doing the challenge rift guides anymore for the free? Save your cash. Yeah. Don't do this challenge rift until Tuesday. Very important. Top 5 mistakes to avoid in Lord of Hatred. Actually, I should make that video. Now the question is, which are those? What the fuck, man? Where is all the spirit-born hate coming from, man? That's crazy. Don't do strongholds until level X. Yeah, I'm not so 100% sure on the strongholds, if they're even gonna be a thing for leveling, so I'm kind of hesitant to mention that one, to be honest. We don't really have any confirmation if they change something. Don't skip campaign. Yeah, you can't skip the campaign. But I guess people might just create a character and then just not do the campaign, and then they can't even do war plans and they don't realize or some shit, right? Or they might accidentally create a... There's actually a thing, like they might actually accidentally create an internal character, right? Because game is gonna go live and no season is there for 30 minutes. I think that is actually valid. The top 5 mistakes playing Eternal Realm is actually a point. Okay. Let's just say character creation. What are the chances servers are actually up in a 30-minute window? I don't know. Just play hardcore. Usually hardcore servers are fine. Hi, Infona. Could see someone using the wrong recipe in the cube. Yeah, okay, this is like part of the learning process. I don't think this is such a big deal. Would there be an item like the Royal Granger ring in the 344? Yes, actually. Winner's lunch? Nah, for most people around noon. Will Max have some basic loot filters for classes? No. This will be later. Like, we do have the functionality in the planners to add the loot filters. But, you know, we don't even know what we're gonna filter. So, you know. Any ideas for mid-game to end-game transition? As we go from boss on T1 to enable some builds. Yeah, I don't know. It will depend a little bit on, like, you know, how fast you will acquire, like, you know, boss materials, the uniques, and whatever, right? Like, we don't really know how fast all this is gonna go. Like, how fast you get your paragons versus your items. When do you get the sets? So my expectation is the progression is gonna be roughly like this. So you start, you're gonna have mostly rare gear for like the first 40 levels. You're gonna find a legendary or two. And then towards like level 50, level 60, it starts ramping up, legendary drops a little bit. So you might actually finish level 70 with like mostly some random shit legendary equipped in every slot. Then you go to Summon 1, maybe you start getting like a random unique here and there. And some random legendaries, and eventually you kind of have your legendary lineup. You start slowly getting the first boss keys in like the low torments. So that then you kill those bosses and you don't even get their uniques necessarily. And then, I don't know, maybe like in like, you know, torment 3 to 5 or so, you start putting together like the right aspects and the right uniques finally, but all with shit stats. And mostly non-ancestrals still. And then you go to like Torment 6 or so, maybe you start getting some ancestrals with the right stats. Torment 7, Torment 8, maybe you're gonna start masterworking a bit more. And maybe at that point you're also gonna start finding a bit more of like the set that you're looking for. Maybe you have like a 2 or 3-piece set of your class now. Then Torment 9, Torment 10, you're gonna start getting some mythics. And you start putting together like the final like full 5 set piece bonus. And then you kind of like boost yourself to a Torment 12. So yeah, this is kind of how I expect it to go, I guess. Has it been shown why you care for lower quality items as a base in a late game? Yeah, you can find blue and yellow items that have GAs on them. And honestly, even if you don't, you can just craft exactly the stats you want and then make it legendary. So that's the thing. And having a GA in every slot. Okay, later that is probably going to be like the end game, you know, goal. But even having one GA on your gear is already an achievement, it seems. So you just want to transform into demon and clear screens. Boy, do I have good news for you, man. Think Arpiva is a viable chance this season? Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about like talking about loot filters in the video, but honestly, plenty of people are not even interact with the system at all. Or at least not at the start. So we can kind of just take a look and, see, okay, this is what the loot filter does. But that's about it, so. What am I gonna do 30 minutes before season launch? I'll open a few caches, do the Warlock quest. I guess it will take like 5 minutes or whatever. And then I'm probably gonna start looking at the tree, if there's any other like surprises of updates that we haven't seen. And I don't know, if you get a data mine right away, I'll be looking at that as well, see the remaining uniques, see the Paragon. Start putting the planner together. It's hard justifying for D4 expansions when every other RPG gives all its content for free. I know. Somehow D4 still has the most players though. How does that fit together? With enough caches, you could 1 to 70 and check Paragon in-game. Very sweaty. Ah, true actually. I guess you could do that. Someone will definitely do that. And you're gonna get the screenshots of Paragons. But I don't have time to farm like 30 caches now or some shit. D4 is the most players? Yeah, D4 is by far the biggest RPG. Dude, that's like watching like this Abyss demon form looks so cool actually. Like I love this like track claws. Like look at this, man. Very cool. It's basically like multi-shot a bit. It's like you activate the vengeance and do multi-shot. How many people will log in for launch across all platforms? Yeah, I don't know. I do expect somewhere in the range of like 1 to 2 million during like the first 2 weeks, at least. Maybe more, I don't know. $50 million, yeah, probably not. But yeah, could even be like a few million, I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of people. I mean, they have this like community thing, right? Like community-wide, like the entire world, Paragon levels combined should be like 266 million. So if you have 1 million people reaching 266 Paragon, that is it. And I think that will happen before 2 weeks are over, for sure. So I'm getting Maxwell guides today. Yeah, later tonight we're gonna launch the Warlock guides, guys. The Chinese server will fix that on their own. Yeah, Chinese server is probably pretty big. I think a lot of header expansion will have more players than Vessel. Yeah, I think in general this is kind of like a huge turnaround for the game. And even, after this launch is over and the hype ebbs down and so on, there will be a lot more people sticking around long term. Like Vessel of Hater was also a pretty big launch. But, it kind of fell off really hard after Season 6, right? Or Season 7, like, okay, like everyone played Spiritborn in Season 6, then they went back to the old class in Season 7, and then it was kind of just like a few seasons of, mediocrity, right? And now, then came like Season 11 with the Paladin, and there was like a huge hype wave again. And yeah, since Season 10, I would say, there has been like some real excitement for this game, I think. But nothing was really like the huge thing that really brought like everyone back. And now the expansion is coming, and that is the thing, right? So now that everyone is coming back and seeing actually all the things I have been doing, I think it's just gonna be like plenty of people that will, you know, more regularly actually come back for every season. The guides are just best guesses for now. I mean, I've been working for weeks on Warlock builds, so I would call it a bit more than a best guess. But yeah, we don't know the exact, like, you know, power level of everything or so, necessarily. Is there a low click build for Warlock? Yes. I think I'm looking for the Death Ball build that I will be making. That is like basically like Righteous Fire from PoE. And that is mostly a walking simulator. If you like Oradin, you're gonna like that build for sure. Aren't the PoE streamers incentivized to not hype the game? Correct. This is why you hear a lot of people still say D4 bad all the time. And, you know, for some people, they might just not like the design of it and all that. But the game has certainly improved in many ways over the time, especially with this expansion. But yeah, there's obviously a pretty strong monetary incentive to prevent your community from moving over from PoE to D4 if you know you don't want to play D4 anyway. What do you think about Shadow, Barrage, or Ferocity and overpower stacking? Yeah, maybe we'll see, like, you know, how good the different imbuements will be. I'm not really sure what will be the role of Shadow imbuement yet. Cold imbuement is relatively defined, and Poison as well, but Shadow has always been kind of like this weird thing. The thing is, Barrage is already good at AoE clear, so going further into that direction with AoE clear with Shadow imbuement is maybe not the way. I think you need to find a solution for single target more than anything. Although, that depends which barrage you actually play, right? If you're talking about the multi-shot barrage, then this is true. If you're talking about the, like, the rain thing, I guess that will probably have good single target and relatively weak clear, so maybe Shadow is good then. Yeah, Rapid Fire seems insane. At least a weapon for it. I have Aggregated on the list, yeah. Canopus, Warlock, Max or Link. Yeah, right now no guide is published yet, but I'll do that soon. Which build is the broadcast? This is kind of close to what the Dragclaws guide is going to look like, actually, that you see here right now. There's the Abyssal Rampage guy. We have Ladish. We have the Dragclaws, we have Netherstep. Yeah, there's like 4 of the same skills on the bar that I will actually have in the guide. Not this basic attack though, that one sucks. Forget about this one. So no different leveling progression for different DLC. No, everyone goes to 70 and then has Paragons. Really playing journalist build. It's true, actually. Look at this. Beautiful purple build. Dude, look at that ability, man. Crazy. Look at it. And then, right click. Bam. Okay, guys, do not click this molten bomb, okay? Do not do it. That's great, man. Oh, by the way, this is insane. Look at the fucking temper manual, man. Blue temper manual. 22.5 core cost. I wonder if they nerfed this. This seems ridiculous. For a blue temper. Where's the Divines? It's called Coolia and Tuning Prism. Those are gonna be the Divines in the future. How do we call them? KTP. I don't know. What are my endgame goals? Be the world first for Mephisto T12, I guess. And I guess after that there's not too much challenge left, so just get some rank 1s on the tower would be nice. There is a leaderboard system, yeah. This is a new talent system. Yeah, kind of. Okay, actually one thing I want to do is like the track class planner. Let me see. Let's put the stuff a little bit together here, since we actually have this stuff. I'm gonna do it right here now. I mean, the notes and stuff, that is fine, but I need to do leveling stuff. Okay. The tree is the most important part here. Okay, so I think this is the entire skill bar. This, this, and then we do Mastermind, Blasphemous. There we go. Okay, save. Okay, we're gonna fill this. No idea if the skill ranks and nether step actually help with anything, but we're doing it anyway. Rampage. Wait, what the fuck? Interesting, I can't do more than 71, even though it says I have 12 left. Right, I need a ping riff on that. Okay, not such a big deal though, it's fine. Basically just like a few more dump points in this and here. So that's the tree. So this is level 34 unlock. Okay, now we remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Actually. Okay. This gives us this at level 23. It's actually kind of interesting. Like you have like a lot of like things you're gonna take very early on. And then there's like so many like large steps. Okay, so what else do we remove? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I forgot these here actually. Okay. So I think this is kind of like an important one here. Oh. I forgot to make a new variant. Oops. So it's level 15. Okay, we do this here again. This. 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 Okay. Subversions. Okay. I have to double check this after. Okay, here's level 15. Which gives us basically our two main skills, Tail Spikes and Encircling Terror. That. Move this. Wait, when do you get that? Oh, this is earlier, actually. Okay. This is kind of important, actually. It's actually relatively complicated to make a leveling tree now, I must say. Because I think these unlocks at every single step. Like, basically this is what it looks like. Here on my end. Yeah. So, it's actually kind of rough. When you think about combining new gladiators, triumph of updated banish lords. Yeah, I think banish lords is definitely more useful than in the past, so there's definitely something there. Okay, how many points did I remove now? 2 is like level 7. Okay, level 6 is direct claws damage. And this is Hellion Sting damage. Okay, so this is Hellion Sting, Drag Claws. There must be a second pointer actually. You need 2 points before you unlock cores, so... So you have Drag Claws, 2 here, nothing there. Only this, okay, so it's like step 1. Level 4. Okay. I know I have to fix this here actually. There's a few things that are not where they should be. So it needs to be 2. And 1. This needs to be 2 and 1. Can just make all of them 2 for the start. Somehow I removed all of them, so... Okay, let's see this. Dude, honestly, maybe I was gonna send the second charge. To go faster. But I think this is now 60% from what I've seen. Still kind of good. 60% TR, and I think the duration is way longer. So it's kind of nice to be fair. Yeah, more like it. Oh wait, this is before sigil actually that we have here. Let's make this 13, I guess. So basically at this point I have all of the side upgrades besides the variant on Nether Step, which this one is going to be at level 34, and everything else is basically just dumping points at this point actually. Okay. So I kind of got it now, I think. Then there's 34. Okay, how's this? 4, 9, 13. Okay, that's like 1 point too much here, I suppose. Which is probably this. Yeah. And here's also 1 point too much. Ah, nice. We have arrow functionality now. I can use keyboard arrows to go back and forth. That's cool, actually. Okay, somehow I have like 1 point missing here. Not sure where. I think. No. I think it's this one, actually. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I can't put the last points there right now, so that's what it is, but they're gonna fix that, I guess. Wait, what is this variant here? Compared to that. It's the same actually, right? Okay. This will be plus 28. 66. Okay. Oh no, he did it. Sylvanic Sky. Yo. Thank you. Okay, I need to check quickly the item guidelines that I made. Alright. So here we go. Item power 500 for leveling guides, apparently. Oh, this looks a bit awful, actually. Wait, can we fix that? Okay, normal quality gems. I guess this will just be... Actually, this will be runes here. It's gonna be kind of nice. We're gonna have runes always in the same items now. They're always gonna be in armor now, not in weapons anymore. So we don't have this weird like, do we have a 2 in a weapon or not? And I'm always gonna put like the runes exactly in the same items. It's gonna be nice. We can add the stats after, I guess. We need sapphires for this class. Holy. Dude, I'm actually kind of tempted to just put skulls here. Maybe you want to do skulls. Might actually be better while leveling. Oh, what do we do? The implicits are gone, right? So the only thing that matters is the attack speed now. Do you want slow or do you want fast attack speed? I suppose you want slow attack speed, actually. Potentially even two-handed. Let's just go with a sword. That looks cool. I have to probably update a bunch of these items anyway after launch. We don't even have like most of the stats and so on, so you can't really like fill this out properly. Oh wait, we need this actually. That's a good question. What do we do here now? I think Diamond is going to be all damage, right? And we do have Shadow and the Bleed stuff going on, so we kind of have to go for Diamonds. Looks a bit funky now with the ultimate, but okay. Funny, I can't actually put willpower on a two-handed sword right now. Fuck it, let's go Axe then. I guess we're gonna put damage or something because we don't have the real stats anyway. And do we want Vuln? Dot Shadow. I guess realistically it's just gonna be like 3 anyway. You don't really apply a Vuln very much. I don't have Wrath per second, unfortunately. I have to add that after launch. Don't really want crit very much, I think. We don't have damage. Yeah, unfortunate. It's kind of scuffed to make these items, and like I need to like redo them all anyway, so it is fine, I guess. Maybe grab some life regen, how about that? Let's do this. Definitely want movement here. How about something like life on hit actually? That would be kind of cool. Okay, so something like that. I think it's actually a Variana angle. Yeah, so that's the first one, basically. This is normal, we don't have the updated skill trees for all classes. That is normal. Will I play GTA 6 when it's coming out? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not like a big GTA enjoyer. But it's quite an interesting game for sure. The dev said tempering his legacy system and maybe masterworking. Is Cube gonna replace them both? No, the systems are staying. They're just like legacy from the perspective of they're not new now. Ah, shit. Am I expecting a shit show on launch since info is so scarce? The shit show will only happen for people that don't follow our Maxwell guides. Here on the Maxwell website, old barb tree. Yeah, the other classes don't have the new trees. There's only like little pieces that we have, so there's no tree. You have to wait for launch. Launch, that's gonna be data mine, and then we're gonna have the planner update, and everything will be there. But yeah, if you want to see, you know, like some snippets and stuff, I have videos talking about all of the different classes. I have a video dedicated to every class and their uniques. And I have videos on the skill tree, like combining 2 to 3 classes at a time. So it's a lot of like in-depth analysis and so on you can see on my YouTube if you want. And a lot of nodes already known, but you know, it's not enough to like put together the entire tree and put together an entire build. But at least you're gonna have a bit of a head start and you're gonna understand how it works, right? Even if you don't know the entire tree, it's just like looking at like, you know, one core skill and one defensive skill and, you know, one ultimate already gives you a bit of an idea of, okay, what is actually even there, right? And how do you make choices? So that, you know, you have to like think about builds a lot differently now in the expansion compared to the past. So it's not just, oh, there's like, oh, I'm gonna click 3 things now, right? But those 3 things, they have to kind of fit in with the rest of your build, right? Missing the necro items. At least this time I didn't have to make these weird necro planners. That's great. Oh man, this is so nice with the sync equipment now. I like this actually. There's also new functionality. That's why you change your mind about starting lock. You wait until people find out more info, and you'll be blasting necro instead. It's kind of funny because we know by far the most about the warlock. Like the warlock is the most figured out, you know? Like I know exactly, okay, we're gonna have those 10 Maxwell guides. These builds are gonna look roughly like that. Like the last piece is missing is just, okay, we're gonna throw in the Paragons, but Paragons are generally very uninteresting. So there's not really like a lot of stuff going on there. And then, okay, like a few uniques will like, you know, change some stuff and that's it. So, nah, there was no access for the pre-release version. This was only for people that don't make builds. Will you be able to get 300k HP on your barb? Maybe. At least you know what the old skills roughly do already. I don't know. I mean, kind of, but also not really, right? I mean, look at Barrage. Barrage is a very good example. Like, the entire skill does not do what it used to do. There's 3 variants that all do completely different things on top of that. So, you just have 3 new skills now that used to be Barrage. So, How come some random ass non-important content creators got it, but you guys didn't? Well, that's intentional. You know, they wanted people to not know everything. So they only invited people that will not tell, basically. I mean, if they invited me, you know, I would have like 30 builds ready to go and, you know, boom, right? So. My fireball shoots fire until it doesn't. Nice. What am I starting? Yeah, this year, basically. This is Dread Claws. Would even be interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, I like theory crafting and making builds and making guides and so on. And even then, you know, like there's obviously like a difference between, you know, like a sort of testing environment and, you know, I just like kind of try stuff and experiment and then actually playing it, you know, doing the racing, getting the rank ones and this kind of stuff, right? So it's like two separate ways to like approach the game. Yeah, you missed a lot on Pharaoh, actually. Always like discoveries as you go, blasters don't. Alright, I do love discoveries. Like, honestly, I think it would be even better if they just hadn't even done the press access, you know? Just like send it. Just, you know, show us like one skill per class with like one upgrade. 2 uniques. Just to give a bit of a taste. And then send it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we still have like an incomplete enough picture for it to be, you know, a lot about discovering and, you know, like we're gonna be like even knowing the tooltips, you know, it doesn't really tell the full story anyway, right? You always have to go in and actually play it. You have to press the button and see how it feels. And like, you know, we have like a relatively good amount between like, okay, we know stuff, we have something to go by, we can make an idea, but also, yeah, who knows? So it's a pretty good mix. Ideally, don't tell anything, don't give patch notes, just send it blind, say good luck. Yeah, exactly, that's perfect. Yeah, if I could trust Blizzard to actually get that right, yeah, I'd be telling them like forever until they do it. Imagine Shadow Drop expansion. I mean, Paladin was kind of close enough, I guess. Planner on screen. Oh shit, there comes Nikon. GG should try the new patch notes approach next to. No, I'm not playing right now. It's just video. But I want to record actually my my leveling guide for this build in particular. So we're making a fishing guide now. Let's go. Wait, I need to find my notes about where are the timestamps actually, so I need to show that off. So we have this stuff here, 108 and 134. Okay. I should probably talk about the aspects though and the uniques. Okay, so this is Seed of Horizon, Litany of Sable, Insidious. Okay. That's what I done actually. Deeper Shadows. Let's talk about Fortress. Okay. So you have this. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a bit scuffed still, but it is what it is. So gonna have to make do with what we got. Okay, let's pause this. It's like roughly here where I do this stuff. Okay. Okay. We're recording, guys. Hi everyone, and welcome to my Dreadclaws Warlock guide. This is most likely the first build I'll be playing going into the Lord of Hatred expansion. I've been preparing Warlock builds for weeks, and there will be plenty of stuff out on Maxwell very soon. And this is the first video I'm recording for this class. So I have been preparing this a little bit. We don't really have the data mine yet, we don't have all the aspects and the uniques and all that kind of stuff. But at least to get started, get to level 70, easy peasy, this is going to be an absolute blast with this build. So it's going to feature some of the skills that you see here right now. I kind of have to go by with some of my old footage, so I can't exactly show what I really want to. But it is going to be in a biz-themed build around Dreadclaws with a bit of the Rampage Demon sprinkled in and Hellion Sting for single target. So we have like multiple skills here that kind of looks like that a little bit. So we have this big demon here smashing stuff. That is going to be your best friend in the setup. You kind of cast him into a pack and you can reposition him every time you go. And you can kind of carry him with you with your Nether Step, which is your mobility skill as well. And then you just cast a Dreadclaws, which casts a circular area around you. I'm going to try to find a clip of that actually, which is the core skill here that hits both around you and your Rampage Demon. So the idea of that is that you kind of like put him in the middle and then you just AoE like the entire screen effectively. Either you can double up or you can do it in two separate places. So it's a pretty strong combo, and I think that is going to be very powerful to level up 1 to 70 and even do like Penitent no problem. So I have a leveling planner here. There is also the Maxwell leveling guide that will go with this video. That I have pre-written already, that will be included. There's going to be a lot more details about the individual steps as you go, but yeah, just in terms of like general gearing, we just have like the kind of like early game gear. We don't really expect a lot of legendaries to get early on. Basically just try to equip what you find, go for a lot of resources if you can. So you want to have like Wrath per second, for example, that will roll on Helm. on pants, on boots, and on chest. So wherever you can get that, that's gonna be kind of nice. A bit of life on hit doesn't hurt. And then like damage multipliers. There are new stats now that multiply your damage. So for example, on weapons, rings, and gloves and amulets, you can get that. And there's also like dot multi and crit multi and this sort of stuff. Shadow damage multi might be a thing. So you can put these sort of stats on your gear as you go, and it just makes you more powerful. So let's talk about the skill tree a little bit, because that's kind of the most important like step in the progression here. So we do have these multiple steps in the tree here, and this will kind of go, you know, in various places at various steps. So what I mean is that not everything unlocks at the same time. In the past, you had, for example, core skills was like level 3, and then like the next category was like level 8, and so on. So this is not the case anymore. It's kind of like all over the place now. Like you get basic skills at level 1 and core skills at level 3, but you don't get any of the upgrades to go with that. And then, for example, the first upgrade here unlocks at level 9, or this one is level 5, this one is level 9, this one is level 14, and so on. So it's kind of like going back and forth all the time. So you should really carefully check the skill trees, and then as you go, kind of make sure that you actually get all the right upgrades and kind of like have the checks here. So I have the levels listed with kind of like what is the most important unlock that you're looking for as well as you go. Just kind of go through the skill tree and make sure you have all the stuff. But let's talk about how do you actually play this, how do you level this, where do you go, and then how do you unlock all of it, right? Most importantly, you have the core section here at the start. So this is like the first 4 levels. You're gonna get Hellion Sting. This is your basic. It generates a bit of wrath, it does a bit of damage, and it has a special mechanic called Eviscerate. So Eviscerate is a warlock thing which applies a bleed, a very strong bleed, and also rips out 20% of the existing bleed on the target. It's a bit like a mini rupture from the barbs, and you can kind of just like hold it down and it will keep applying that bleed and then ripping out. So it's kind of like a bit of like instant damage and a bit of dot. So this is an insane single target ability. So effectively every time you have like an elite and you're out of resources anyway, you can kind of just press this, and at the start it only has a 5% chance to proc. But very soon after, I believe this is at level 9, you can get the Eviscerate upgrade here, which gives it a 40% flat added chance. So it becomes a 45% chance with the 5 base. So basically 50-50 almost to get the Eviscerate proc. And then at level 14, you have Tail Spikes, and that is insane. So Tail Spikes launches like a wave. I'm gonna actually show a clip of this because it is just it's kind of such an important tool here. I have this here. So this is kind of what this looks like when you go Tail Spikes. So it's, wait, gotta try to find it. This one. Yeah, so this is the Tail Spikes. It doesn't look very impressive, but it does insane single target damage. So the way this works is that you have to target on an enemy, and that target specifically has this increased chance to get this Eviscerate proc on it. And this thing can multi-hit. So on a big target, on a big boss in a campaign, and we have to do that campaign mandatorily, you're gonna overlap like 5 of these hits. You're gonna get like multiple procs per cast, and it's gonna melt absolutely anything. So this is what you're gonna click basically, starting from level 14, whenever there's like an elite or a boss or something. But you have to wait until then. So it's gonna be like a few steps basically until you get this. But even at level 9, you already have this extra chance. You can kind of just like, you know, whip enemies one by one with this. And then you have the core skill. So Dread Claws, yeah, you saw it at the start here in the clip. This is your core skill. So this is your AoE clear. At the start, it just kind of extends out a wave. It's a bit like a multi-shot Demon Hunter in D3, I would say. And later we have the Encircling Terror upgrade. This is at level 15. So at level 15, it's going to become this like double up AoE around you and around your demon. If you really want, you can keep going with Cascading Dread, which just makes this wave even better. So that is an option. You don't have to go for the circular AoE, but I think that one will definitely ramp the most here. So there's also some nice kind of side upgrades that go with this. You're going to get them like I think level 6 and 10 or so. So one here is where if you wait a few seconds, it becomes stronger. So it can actually like, you know, generate like 2-3 times cast a Dreadclaw, generate, cast a Dreadclaw. So this has a very good synergy here by delaying your next cast, and you get more out of it. And here we have an extra damage for the first hit, and then all of it is buffed with stealth. Now let's talk about stealth real quick, actually. And this is where the next skill comes in. You're actually going to unlock this super early as well, level 4. You can get Nether Step, which is, first of all, your mobility skill. Has a relatively short cooldown and gives you Shadow Form. So Shadow Form is also a new Warlock mechanic. And that gives you this stealth ability when you move while you have those stacks. So you gain those stacks from using this ability or others. And every time you walk, you become stealthed. It doesn't actually really show as like a stealth mechanic. You kind of just like glow dark a little bit basically as you run. So you might see this here in some of these clips. It has like this purple glow around you or something. It does make you, you know, a little less like of a target against enemies, but more importantly, it gives you those abyss skill synergies. A lot of these like purple abyss skills on the Warlock have synergies that go with this, and Nether Step is one of the sources. Later on, we also have the Sigil of Subversion, which also gives you Shadow Form. But either way, it's a relatively strong effect for this sort of archetype. Yeah. And then you continue. So we have multiple steps here. So I have this like kind of mapped out with what I explained. Level 9, you get the Eviscerate upgrade here. You get a few other stuff on the way. Then level 13, we have that Sigil. This is just something I'm gonna throw down, and it creates like an AoE where you kind of want to fight maybe a boss or like an elite pack or something like that. It hexes enemies, which is another new Warlock debuff. Here it says it increases crit chance, which I think is outdated now. So this is now just like an Abyss damage buff or so. But most of our kit is an Abyss skill. So this mostly buffs Dreadclaws and your Rampage Demon that you also get here before that already. And you just try to get that buff up as much as you can, basically. On top of this, there's a bunch of other nice stuff. You get movement speed, you slow enemies, and Shadow Form. So a pretty good supporting kit here, basically, for this whole combo that we have. Let's talk about Rampage real quick. So this was the big smashing demon that you saw at the start. So this is this guy here. This one costs Dominance. So this is just something of a general Warlock mechanic. Dominance is your secondary resource. This works a little bit like the Demon Hunter in Diablo 3 if you have played. So primary resource is like your core skills and stuff. Dominance is like your big demon summons. And this Rampage dude is one of them. So this just regenerates very slowly, and you have to be a little bit mindful about how you use it. In this build, it is relatively easy to keep up your dominance, since this guy has like a long duration. It lasts 10 seconds. You get 1 dominance per second. And then once you get this upgrade here, Abyssal Titan, this is a little bit later, like 20 something, I believe. You have the option to not just cast a new Rampage dude, but you actually just have one big guy, and you can re-summon him in different places without the cost. So it's like a recast skill that just like you just move him around, basically. And he becomes Abyss. So again, all these other synergies go with that. We have the Hex, we have the Shadow Form stuff, and that just completes the kit. On top of this, this guy also brings the Eviscerate debuff with a 100% chance. So if you see an elite, you can throw him in there and he will 100% apply at least 1 Eviscerate debuff, which is going to do a lot of damage. You see here the percent damage value is gigantic on this debuff, 2500% there. So yeah, this thing alone might just like melt stuff every time you actually cast it into a fresh pack, and you kind of just clean up the rest. Yeah, and this is kind of like how you keep going with the rest of the skills here. So there is like a bunch of these unlocks along the way. Again, we have all these different steps here that you see in the leveling guide. And the last kind of like unlock that you have in terms of like actually switching the setup is Recall Shadows. So this is at level 34, the last variant here on Nether Step. This one says it brings you Abyss summons with you and extends the durations by 3 seconds. That's kind of neat, because this Abyssal guy here is going to be an Abyss summon. So you can not just recast him yourself, but you can also use your Nether Step to carry him along with you. So straight into the pack, basically, and then just start blasting with Dreadclaws. Yeah, and then the rest is basically just kind of filling up the individual skills. So, for example, at this point, we already have a bunch of Dreadclaws. Since there's not really a lot of unlocks anymore, at some point you just kind of like start throwing all of your skill points into your main skill. So first this one, and then we have the Hellion Sting, and then you kind of just keep going. You pump up the Rampage guy and the Nether Step, and then yeah, you basically have everything almost maxed at the end anyway, once you're level 70 with all those points available. Yeah, so this is so much for the skill tree here. Now let's talk a little bit about how this will continue later on. So there will be an endgame guide, which I've also prepared some stuff for. So this will also then be in this planner, but you know, this will be like a separate endgame guide on Maxroll. So I will probably have some sort of update video or something as well going with that, because we don't really have the full picture yet. We can't make the paragons yet. It doesn't really exist. But I do have a few notes that I actually put here about a few aspects that we already know and a few uniques that we already know that kind of go with this whole setup. So let's talk about those real quick here. So here's publicly known info from like the press early access about uniques and aspects. And there's two that stand out here on the unique front. One is the Litany of Sable. This is specifically the Tread Claws like unique. So this one gives you extra damage and it fires out extra claws when you gain a stack of Shadow Form. So you want to get a lot of Shadow Form as much as you can, basically. There is a relatively good way to do this, which is gonna go like later into like the endgame setup, and that is Metamorphosis. So I didn't really talk about this now, but for the endgame, this will be a pretty big feature, because there is the Terror Demon variant here, where I do expect some nerfs, to be fair, for the skill, but it is kind of cracked. So it says that it gives the ranks to Abyss skills, so you get double the ranks basically, and then you get 4 Shadow Form per second. So that kind of perfectly synergizes with this unique I just explained. And Metamorphosis has a bunch of other stuff going for it, with like life stacking, giving you more damage, and then like also another big damage upgrade here, but it reduces your maximum life to 50%. So this is not something for the leveling guide, but in the end game, effectively, one of your demons is going to get replaced here, and that is then gonna go into Metamorphosis, basically. Also, I realized I didn't talk about this guy. So Summon Tazroth. This one is actually called now Lalish. So this is still the old tooltip here. But this one is the Mastermind Shard Demon that comes with your class mechanic, basically. It's a kind of nice one. So it has just kind of like, it's just like extra damage basically as you go. It just kind of attacks stuff. I'm trying to find a clip of it right now, if I can see that here. So we have it on the bar. Let's see when I press it. Yeah, so it's like this worm basically, this guy here. He just automatically attacks stuff, and then every 15 seconds, it doesn't cost anything, it's just a cooldown. You can just send him into a pack, and this guy alone also just kind of destroys entire packs basically, so it's kind of neat. So you have a lot of AoE clear with this, but later on, we don't really invest much into this demon guy, and we want to have Metamorphosis on the bar. So this is mostly, you know, what you're gonna go in the late game at least. And this is where like that Litany of Sable also comes in. Very strong item, and yeah, I expect this to be like kind of like the core that you're looking for as soon as possible. Besides that, Seed of Horazon is definitely like a pretty solid, just like all-rounder demonology item. So here's a neck that has demonology skill damage. Effectively, everything in this build is demonology. So your Dreadclaws is a demonology skill, the Rampage guy, yeah, so everything is getting buffed by this, so kind of neat. Not sure if that's really going to make it into the build in the end. There might be better amulets out there or even better aspects, but it's something. And let's talk about the aspects here. So we have the list here: Insidious, Deeper Shadows, Fortress, and Malevolence. So Insidious is a pretty strong Abyss aspect here. So again, Shadow Form synergies, and then you have a 400% bonus of that bonus when you have Stealth, which you're generally going to have when you use this sort of Abyss kit. So this seems to be some sort of like core aspect here for probably every Abyss build, to be honest. That seems kind of insane. Then we also have, I need to find it, further down here, there's Fortress aspect. So this used to be a Barb aspect, and it looked a little bit different. Gives you more damage reduction the more injured you are. This is insane, especially with what I explained about Metamorphosis. With like the you know, staying at 50% life, so you have like a really high damage reduction value there. I think that's gonna be really good. There's also other stuff you can find along the way, lots of movement speed on Impetus, for example, so we can just mention this. He has Malevolence that gives you overpower. So I think that's going to be also pretty prominent on many Warlock builds, just like free overpower generation for like an utility aspect. Can just stop this on the boots or so, it could be nice. And there is Deeper Shadows, which gives you more Shadow Form stacks. So this means you can keep up this buff much longer without really having to refresh it or something. But also it has like synergy with yeah, like the Insidious aspect here, for example. So yeah, this is just a bit of a preview of what endgame build on Dragclaws is going to look like. And you're just going to kind of keep working on the Abyss synergies as you go. And the more of that you get, the less this whole Eviscerate combo is really going to be a thing. So as you approach later game stages, this whole like Hellion Sting thing is going to kind of fall off a little bit since you're not really investing into it, but you also won't really need it anymore. This is mostly something that I recommend for a campaign. You can set this on literally any Warlock build at the start, and with the tail spikes and the Eviscerate, it's going to be insane. Unless they giga nerf this. So really, like, then it needs to be a heavy nerf for this in order for that to not be good, I think. So we'll see. But yeah, late game, one solution or like one change we're also gonna make here is we're gonna swap over to another basic skill, basically. That is gonna be Command Fallen. So at some point when you realize, okay, Hellion Sting, I don't really care about it anymore, you can go with this here. There's Command Fallen and then the Fallen Army. That gives you 10 Wrath per hit with 3 separate guys. So that is like an insane basic skill to use once you kind of like, you know, move on from Hellion Sting. But yeah, so much for that. This is the leveling guide here. Maybe just a brief mention about the class mechanic. It is relatively simple on this build, I would say. So we do have Mastermind Shard and Blasphemous Fragment. It's mostly just more synergies of what we already do. So there is Shadow Form stuff and Hex stuff in there, basically. So, for example, with the Blasphemous Fragment, your Abyssal Titan now applies the Hex for you as well, gives you more damage. And then here is also just like when you're in Stealth and Shadow Form, you have more damage. It's very simple on this one, but some other builds might have a bit more complicated class mechanics. Yeah, either way, I hope this helps you out. So it's, you know, still a bit scuffed here. I'm trying to find my way with the Warlock guides as well, since I can't really show everything. You know, we don't have everything in the planner yet, but in the next days, all of that is going to be resolved. And it's going to be very fun to keep exploring, you know, what else is going to be there. And stay tuned for the endgame guide as well. So besides that, hope everyone is going to have a blast. Wish everyone a good start into the expansion. And see you guys next time. Okay. Okay. Alert. Way too many people know it now. I didn't really see the chat, so I'm not sure what is going on here. Need to become Purple Demon ASAP. Yeah, the Purple Demon is going to be good for sure. Oh my god, man, I'm scrolling through the chat. What is happening? Okay. Trust the process, guys. Okay. Warlock is the only class that's gonna have leveling builds. That's correct, yeah. I'm actually gonna go offline now, guys. So I think we did a lot of work here. Ooh. Yo, Chimera, thanks for the prime. 40 hours stream tomorrow? That's damn right. Just swing it into insanity. Get some rest. Yeah, no rest time yet. I have a bunch of stuff to do still. Like publishing a bunch of Warlock guides, for example. So we'll see. Anyway, let's wait someone. Rax raid time. How about that? Have a good one.